The best coverage of high school and college athletics in Northeast North Carolina begins now. This is NENC Sports Radio Show on WRVS 89.9.
Back again with another look at athletics in the Northeast corner. Owen Hassel with you alongside Malcolm Shields. ACC tournament time. It's not a part of the NENC officially, but I'm sure many of you listening, it's very important. The ACC tournament, if you're getting to be old like me, you remember the times that you'd be in school and you were hoping for sure that teacher would allow you to watch it during class. 9 times out of 10, the teacher did allow you to watch it in class because the teacher wanted to see the tournament. On that Friday, you had the noon game, the 12-2, then you had the 7 and 9 games, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I can remember the 8-team tournament, even the 9-team with the play-in game on Thursday night that nobody watched. But Friday through Sunday was tournament time, and of course that's the case now. But the tournament is like 5 days now. Was it Thursday? Yeah, 5 day. I had to count it.
And you got to think the kids got the little streaming on their cell phones now.
Now, you got all these different things going on. I mean, but back then you had the big TVs that you rolled into the class, and boy, your eyes were you're so excited. Oh my gosh, so excited! Like you're not doing no work is being done today. This is a great time of the year, but as the case each year, it means we're going to have a certain someone familiar joining us who has covered the tournament. Staff writer for the Outer Banks Voice and radio personality Sam Walker. The ACC in the NYC. Early thoughts?
Early thoughts? Kind of pleased with how things have gone. Haven't really seen any, complaints about it. Although Jim Boeheim got crushed by the city of Greensboro on
yes, he did.
Wednesday after another first day or whatever you want to call it, second round, but first game of tournament for the Orange Flameout. And he decides to throw some shade in the post-game press conference, even dropped a little of one of the 730 words you can't say on the air in that comment. And the city of Greensboro shot back full force. But, the tournament not being in one of the traditional cities always kind of gets at us every year, and those of us who are traditionalists. But so far, so good. And from what I understand, the biggest complaints that the potential that everybody had was, there's not really a lot of hotel rooms around Barclays Center. That was taken care of with Airbnb coming to the rescue for all the smaller media types. Everyone seems to like it so far, and it's been an entertaining tournament so far.
Yeah, I mean, you don't trash Greensboro. You don't do that. You just don't. I mean, that's the house. Greensboro Coliseum is the house that I would almost say the ACC tournament built, but I'd give Reynolds Coliseum a nudge. And it's also the house that Ric Flair built, Starrcade. Hello, Greensboro Coliseum.
That's right. The playground in Piedmont should always, it's kind of like to be the host city narrative of this event. But, so far so good. I kind of almost not being there, but having experienced Tampa in 2007 and the way that as much complaints as we had about being in Tampa and crowds being low, the way that they ran the tournament and the way that they hosted the tournament, I will always rate that was my best experience from a sheer host city and the way they did it. And it seems like that's kind of what's going on in Brooklyn. It may not be as where you turn, you see something ACC because it is still New York City. And you do have another tournament going on across town with the Big East. So far, it's everyone's saying they're having a good time. And that's key. If you can make us happy, the media happy when you host a tournament, you're going to get good reviews.
Obviously, we're going to talk much more about ACC tournament and various other things. But first, you want to catch more on Northeastern North Carolina sports, follow us on Twitter. Also use the hashtag NENC Sports to keep the discussion rolling. You can follow us at NENC Sports. Then for me, I'm at ONOBX. Malcolm?
I'm at Malcolm_Shields.
And Sam?
Sam Walker, OBX.
And there's more ways to stay involved with sports in Northeastern North Carolina in the form of a blog. Go to nencsports.wordpress.com for interviews, video, and extra analysis from various Northeastern North Carolina games. Back with more after this.
Hi, I want to pledge $30.
Yes, I would like
like to make my pledge of $100 today.
WRVS 89.9 relies on the generous support of listeners like you. Through the month of March, make a prepaid pledge of at least $25 and become a member.
You will receive exclusive benefits and information on upcoming events, such as the Flat Out Funny Comedy Experience and the annual Back to School Bash and Food Drive. Plus, you will receive a special thank you gift for your support.
It's all yours when you use the 3P program. Call 252-335-3517 and make your pledge of at least $25. Then pay your pledge with cash, check, credit, or debit card.
Don't wait. Use the 3P program today and help us break the record of Success Fest pledges. Deadline March 31st.
You say goodbye and I say hello.
State championship week for boys and girls basketball. Of course, all teams in the NENC bowed out by the fourth round, so much of what is left to sort out is all area teams. I realize, Malcolm, we did the Mag 7, brought a lot of discussion from people on the show, a lot of Team Owen, Team Malcolm, much more Team Owen, of course, than Team Malcolm. Let's just call it like it is. Did that during the season. It seemed like just a few weeks ago, I think it was. They all run together right now.
Yeah.
Where we could compete against each other, the Team Owen, Team Malcolm. But in this case, let's do something where you might have the same players that I do. Your top 5 boys and girls this year in the Northeast corner.
Top 5 boys, I'll probably go with Ja'Cory Robeson at Hereford County, Trey Burton at Currituck, DeMar Sutton at Northeastern. I'll go Dallas Hall at Perquimans, and I'll go Zach Robeson at Camden.
Dang. I want to do a little something there. Just to be different, let me think of somebody else. I'll still stay with Roberson. I'll stay with Sutton. I guess I like Trey Burton a lot. I want to stick with him. And it's hard to go against Zach Roberson. And gosh, well, that's everybody. What are you doing to me? Thought we might have some differences.
Vernon Randall.
Well, Clifford Shaw. I had someone else to throw in there. I throw in maybe Clifford Shaw.
Malik Leach.
But you got Trey Burton.
Yeah.
I don't know. Too much of a good thing. Those two players are somewhat mirrors of each other. I'll still give Burton the edge, maybe the experience factor. That's it. But next year, Malik Leach, that guy should be on our list.
Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt about that. So that's the guys. That was easy enough. Girls.
I'll go with Brittany Franklin at Plymouth. I'll go Deja Williams at Pasquotank. Cindy Austin at Ocracoke. McCray Knapp at Perquimans, and Jason Stable at Camden.
Brianna Proctor, Northeastern. That's the easiest one.
Yeah.
To throw in there. I don't know who I would necessarily take out. I'm not sure I would take out. But a lot of those, once again, Brittany Franklin's is going to Kansas to play. So that's big time. Maya Simpson, I like her. I like her grit.
Maybe Lindsay Likens?
Yeah, Lindsay Likens as well, because she had another great year. She could be good for a double-double quite a bit. So yeah, not many differences with us. That's round about it. Sam, do you have any players of note?
Well, obviously, I got to go with Trey Burton.
Yeah,
surely from he was if we were to rank the fastest men in basketball right now in Northeastern North Carolina, Trey would be at the top of that list. Ja'Cory Robertson, he led the conference in scoring. He led the Northeastern Coast, so you can't leave him out. Even though he's a football player who Danny Manning might want to really consider using him once football's done. I really do think Wake Forest may have got a double threat. Let's see. Continue on my boys list. It's so hard because you've got 4 or 5 guys that you could come out of the Northeastern Coastal Conference. You don't leave enough for the Coastal 10 guys, but Ja'Cory Robertson, Trey Burton, and they throw in. I'm always one who looks at what point guards do and their numbers. John King, and somebody who can average 6 to 7 assists a game. That's somebody I want on my team. Over in a guys from Coastal 10, Keyshawn Blunt, he led the conference, but Zach Robinson probably was the best overall player. With being able to not only score, but, hand the ball out there. Girls, Bertie is going to be a lot of them, but Brianna Proctor was probably, I think, player of the year. I mean, when you're averaging 19 and basically averaging almost 20 and 20 a game, that's player of the year, no question. Maybe just from her toughness, Autumn Moorings, somebody who really impressed me, seeing her a couple of times in the conference tournament. I'm going to throw Carlisa Spivey in there. I thought she was a key player for Bertie in their run this year. And Autumn Moorings, just the defense that she offered. That's one thing. Bertie's always tough defense in that. And to have, average almost 5 steals a game. From the girls' side in the Coastal 10, Sydney Austin, no question, from the Ocracoke, top scorer by almost 8 points compared to the rest of the league. And Zakiya Lumsden, who led the conference in assists, even though she was just barely ahead of Sydney Austin. So that's my list.
Yeah, and maybe if we could think of a top 5 of players who aren't seniors this year, because sort of something to look forward to next year. One of those guys that would be high on my list, just thinking one right now, is Dylan Blake from First Flight. His shooting ability, just a freshman, people. And I've jokingly, I've had some fun with it. You look at him, you think this kid is still like in 6th grade,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
But he goes out there and balls, and you're going, okay,
absolutely.
Kind of like Charlie Murphy. Prince can ball. He's crossing over people, but he's the Prince of First Flight. No, Jim Prince is the Prince of First Flight. Got that all mixed up. But Dylan Blake would be at the top, maybe not the top of my list, but he's pretty close. Malik Leach, we just mentioned it for Quemmons. Another Trey Burton-like guy with another year under his belt could do some good things with Quemmons. Of course, you got Dallas Hall coming back. That's another guy you'd put on that list. And girls, Brianna Proctor, she comes back for another year. Seems like she's been around for forever.
Yeah.
And I know her list of schools is growing from different places, giving her look some D1s, considering Brianna Proctor right now, and they should. And even with Northeastern not making the playoffs the last 2 years, it's not because of her. Not because of her whatsoever.
And imagine Brianna Proctor, who would have been healthy the second half of the season.
Yes.
The number she would have been able
that
to
shoulder just kept nagging her.
Oh, God.
She came in some games. She wasn't 100%. She wasn't 100% the whole second half of the season. I think most people could tell that if they were at enough games. She fought through a few games. She fought through that game at Currituck, and you know that, Sam, for watching it. She got that 1,000th rebound for a career. Again, 1,000 rebounds junior year. Already have it. Is quite amazing. She wanted that one bad. She wanted that game bad, and they got it. So there's. I thought this year was a year of transition for basketball in the area. No team that was really head and shoulders above everybody. I mean, Bertie girls, but I thought the Northeastern Coastal girls was down anyway overall. So it made Bertie look a little more dominant than they probably were, and it showed because they lost, even though it was a 1 seed, and you would have thought they'd gotten to at least regional final, did not. So there's still, I think, a lot to look for next year. There's going to be a lot of players that could really show out next year, and who knows, could have a couple teams get to that 4th round, 5th round, as long as they don't go to Fairmont.
Right.
They don't go to Fairmont.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's okay, because you're not going, Malcolm.
Be hot.
I mean, I see beads of sweat already coming off your forehead saying the word Fairmont. Okay, let's get back in the spring mix, though. Elizabeth City, via the Pasquotank Track, hosted an NC Runners meet on Tuesday. NC Runners, a group that promotes track, obviously as the name states, promoted around the state. It brought many of the top athletes from the Coastal 10 and Northeastern Coastal conferences. No surprise, First Light dominated the distance events, kind of like their, I guess, similar to the bashing of anyone in the area during cross-country season. I mean, they just destroyed everybody during cross-country. In the 1600 alone, the Nighthawks had 8 of the first 9 finishers in the boys. Skylar Stoltz won, reaching for the Skylar with a 4:51 time. A slight diversion from track, but Pasquotank has Samuel Bingham back. Bingham, of course, on the track team while I'm noting this, but moved to Florida. So he didn't play football this past fall for the Panthers, but he's showing some speed in the sprints. He's back here, of course, running very fast, which is good in the sprints. Was second to Kyne Perry of Hertford County. Of course, Kyne Perry very fast.
Yes.
Running back for Hertford County is also on the track team for the Bears. Second to Kyne Perry in the 100. Malcolm, you know what Pasquotank's losing in the Cow Twins. Mm-hmm. Marcus and Michael, who another group that feel like duo, they've been there 18 years. Mm-hmm. Of course, they've only been alive 18 years. How excited do you think Coach Chris McGee is to have Mr. Bingham back?
You got to think so. You got another athlete coming back into the stable. He was with the team, I believe, in 2015 as a wide receiver. Obviously, the offense is going to be – it's going to be interesting to see what the offense is going to be, because in 2015 it's a little bit more open, wide open and throwing the football. Maybe it's a little bit more in the middle in terms of being conservative and mixing in and running the pass. So, but again, it's adding another athlete, and hey, maybe he can, see a few snaps at quarterback.
I think they'll throw it around a little bit more with Jonathan Lambertson. Mm-hmm. Likely will be the starting quarterback. He's more of a pocket passer from what I've seen. Mm-hmm. If you got someone like Bingham to throw it to, you kind of like to have Dylan Halfaker back.
Yes. He
would probably like the situation that could be coming up next year. Right. You had to do a lot with the Cows this past year. That was your bread and butter. You had to run with those guys a lot, and it led to not as many throws
right.
as maybe you'd like if you were a wideout. There were times Marcus was playing quarterback. Mm-hmm. McGee was having to throw the kitchen sink out at times, and I don't blame him. You're trying to fill out your team. You know the seniors, it's going to be tough to get them to buy in as much as possible, but it's that youth that you really want listening to your heart, because that's the foundation of your next couple years. But I think Pasquotank's going to throw the ball a little bit more. And if you got someone like Bingham, I think that's not bad.
No,
I think you just throw it up to him, see what happens. He's got a little hype to him.
Absolutely.
Again, Coach Chris McGee is like, yes, something, little something to taste, a little something in the mix right there, and you got to feel good if you're a Pasquotank fan. Michael Cow, by the way, won the 200. He's fast.
Yes.
So is Marcus.
Yes.
Plenty of usual suspects, of course, won on Tuesday as well. Northeastern's Alexis Harris in the shot put. Pasquotank's Andrea Morgan for the long jump. Hertford County's Joya Blackwell in the high and triple jumps. And, of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't include First Flight's Alex Rodman, simply one of the best runners in the state. She won a few state titles during the indoor season, won the 800 on Tuesday by 11 seconds against one of our own teammates. 11 seconds.
That's really
eternity.
Good. Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah. You win the race. They shut the meet down. It gets dark. And then the next morning, the second person comes in. That's how long the wait it probably feels like in track when it's 11 seconds. This was part of the 4x18 with a 10:56 time. That was 28 seconds better than Curry Tech. 28 seconds better. Come on.
That's dominant.
What are we doing here? So a lot going on there with the track. Glad to have the NC Runners Group in town. That was their Eastern #1 meet. They try to go to different parts of the East, and it's rare, of course. You come up to the Northeast corner, so glad to have them. Pasquotank's got a great track. Mm-hmm. Maybe the best track in the Northeast corner. So Northeastern hosted, but it was held at Pasquotank. That's kind of how that goes. And either way, both schools did a great job helping out with that. Good to have them. Let's go to baseball. Women's baseball and softball, undefeated Lady Pirates beat Currituck 12-7. They had a big inning in the 6th. They were down, came back and won that game. Women's baseball won 4-1 against the Knights in 8 innings. Then on Wednesday, Women's topped Riverside with a walk-off. When you think baseball and softball crazy areas, then it's PQ.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Everybody say it. PQ. You know.
Yeah. Put it on the shirt.
It's on the shirt. Malcolm, who beats either one of these teams, if anyone, in the regular season?
In the conference for Women's, maybe Camden, but I just think that the depth of their pitching, and right now they're hitting the ball, which was a problem in terms of having that consistent last year at the plate. It's going to be tough if anybody can, trip up the Pirates. maybe non-conference. You got to look at April 6th when they meet Edenton. That's going to be a good one.
That will be very good.
Both teams got arms. You got to expect that's going to be a great matchup. For softball, again, probably Camden will be their best, the best team that could trip them up.
Yeah, I think Camden and Brookwomen softball will split. Just it's something about those two teams. And Brookwomen's getting a little more love right now. Mm-hmm. And we're pumping up a little bit because they've got a number of players back and they've got some great youth, but Camden's got a number of good players. Right. We're talking about Morgan Nash and Brittany Mansfield. These are players who have been there a few years and done that. And they're beating teams up similar to Brookwomen's in a lot of ways. So when those two teams play, it's you never really know. And again, it goes back to that rivalry that starts in volleyball in the fall, cools off a touch in basketball, but there's still a lot of they want to win. Yeah. It's just that they're not going to necessarily be at the top of the conference in the basketball. But in the softballs,
yes,
they are going to bring the funk. Yes. And both teams are pretty good for going at least 3 rounds deep in the playoffs if they're not meeting each other at some point. They had a playoff tiebreaker last year to determine the top seed from the league because, again, they split. They were co-champs last year. It's hard to remember that because women's once again went 4 rounds deep. I've said it before, Princeton doesn't have that nucleus like they've had the last couple of years to shut down Brookwomen's. I think the door is wide open for a Camden or Brookwomen's to get to the Eastern Final or state championship. I look back in 2012, Camden softball was like 4th or 5th in the Four Rivers Conference. That's how great that conference was. 4th, I think they were 5th. They slid in late. Chris McGee was coaching them. Chris McGee was at Camden at the time. They went on a run. I mean, just incredible run to the state championship series. Won the first game of the series. They were 1 game away from winning the school's first ever team state championship, but lost in 3 games. It can happen. I've seen it happen in softball more than maybe most other sports. But I think it's really nice and open for those schools. You got to give Brookwomen's a slight edge because they've been in that 4th round back-to-back years and have the talent. But again, you just don't know for sure. All right. ACC tournament. Well, we got Mr. Walker with us, and of course, all things NENC because I'd give him Gaddis Hodges like love.
Absolutely.
I do. I mean, when we talk about the NENC media, he's right there. Mm-hmm. Absolutely right there. The ACC tournament in Brooklyn, but your alma mater, Campbell, got to the Big South final. Did it have you thinking just a little about 1992?
Not just a little, a lot.
You know what I meant by little.
Not to the extreme of we weren't that. I mean, we came into that tournament at 16 and 10 or 16 and 9, and beat Davidson pretty handily in the first round. Liberty took us down the stretch, but we were able to come out of it and then just dominate Charleston Southern. Kind of a different path. We were decent on the road. Got a couple of sneaky road wins that year, and then had a couple of frustrating losses at home. This team this year, much different. They hit a real rough patch about mid-season. In fact, the 25th anniversary reunion, I wasn't able to attend, but hosted Liberty and got drilled by 35 at home by Liberty on that 25th anniversary celebration. And it was also the 40th anniversary for the 77 team, which was the last team in the NAIA before Campbell went Division I, that went to the Final Four out in Kansas City of NAIA. So, it's kind of get into a tournament, maybe win a game because you got to be at home. They were a 7th seed. And then this Chris Clemens kid from Millbrook, from Raleigh, just went nuts. Drops 51 in the quarters, set the tournament record for scoring in the second game. No one had ever scored. Not only did he set the Big South tournament record, he set the school record. He beat Sam Stagger 44 from 1987 in that game. Just phenomenal. And the excitement back in Dewey Creek, and the Campbells are going to the postseason for the first time since 25 years ago when we played Duke as the 16th seed in Greensboro in 1992. The only team, by the way, to beat the spread against Duke in that tournament. I should note.
I knew that was coming. Spread talk was going to come. I was waiting for it. Came a little later than I expected, but it's there.
But the accepting a bid yesterday to host the game in the collegeinsider.com tournament. So for the second time only, Campbell's in the postseason, just a couple years removed from baseball, finally getting back into the NCAA tournament, actually getting the school's first win in NCAA tournament play down in South Carolina when they beat Old Dominion. But it's exciting. Campbell's a lot different school than it was 25 years ago, to say the least. To play actually in an arena rather than playing in Camden's gym with brick walls and bleachers on each side, because that's what we played in.
What's wrong with Camden's gym? What's wrong with Camden's gym?
It's the same building. You have a Division I basketball team playing in it.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with Camden's gym. It's just, if you want an NENC comparison, that's the comparison. You have bleachers on both sides. And they're not that very big. It was like 1,200 feet, and that was a stretch. But actually to have a legitimate basketball arena, to now have a football team that's going to play full Division I double of the Division I FCS schedule in 2 years, after not having football for 50 years and bringing it back almost 10 years ago, to have the Olympic sports success. The golf team's got a Mercedes van. I mean, the vans that the golf team rode in when we were there, they wouldn't let on the road these days. Even so, the overcoat would be glad to have one of those vans that we had to carry around. It's a far cry, and that shows how much of a commitment the athletic team has got. But it's really satisfying to have them on the national stage and getting talked about on SportsCenter. Instead of just being on the crawl on the bottom of the screen on the headline news to find a score, because that's how, back in the day, that's how it was. And now to actually, be in top, SportsCenter top 10 play, and in constant coverage over last weekend, when all the mid-major tournaments going on, is really satisfying and really exciting for all of our alumni. The cool thing is we have a member of that 25th anniversary team who is coaching in the state championship this weekend. Joe Spinks, who's from Ashboro, was the only 4-time Big South all-conference selection in Big South history. He is the coach at Eastern Guilford and has got them one win away from the state championship in the 4A. They'll be playing the Smith Center on Saturday. So a little bit of a tie for me personally there, and a tie for that 25th anniversary team.
Yeah. Well, it's obviously exciting times for Campbell. I was excited. Mm-hmm. I was watching the final excited, thinking, could this be it? Could this happen? It's going to be a lot more Cinderella 3 games in 3 days to pull this off. But once you saw Winthrop get a bit of a nudge and just all of a sudden went from 3-13, it felt like in a blink of an eye. It was, you could see it was a lot of the momentum that had been carried over. It's tough. 3 games in 3 days is difficult.
Well, yeah, and having the day off, because it was one of those things where Campbell, the last time Campbell played in 1994, lost to Liberty down in North Charleston, and that was back when Campbell didn't play on Sunday. We had a rule. We didn't play on Sunday. So they were able to schedule a tournament. We played on Monday. We had a day off, and we had a lot of momentum going into that game and lost it when when Jerry Falwell busted the entire campus from Lynchburg to Charleston to watch that game. Kind of the same setup, playing at Winthrop, a building that Campbell never really played well in to begin with. And that place was jacked up, but he had a day off. Might have actually been able to catch Winthrop because their best player, Johnson, who ended up scoring 31, the same, in the semifinals. He was really beat up. He got a day's rest, and he went off in that second half. And like you said, it went from 3 to 13 in just a couple between media time. And then it was on from there for Winthrop. And they're playing at home is a huge advantage in those mid-major conference tournaments if you get that 1 seed and get a chance to host. But to get to the final, you could tell Campbell they were dead. They had gas because they had played. That was the 5th game in a week, 4th game in a week, because they had to host the first round, and then play well in the quarters, play great in the semis. And then get a day off and having to play that 4th game and in less than a week on the road. All the shots were being short in that first half, and then Winthrop went on its little run there and put the game in the double digits and never looked back. And now that Winthrop team actually was probably going to put themselves in the NIT. If they didn't win, they would get in the NIT because that's the nice thing now.
Mm-hmm. Regular season champ.
Yeah, if you win the regular season, you're at least getting in the NIT. So they were playing for the NCAA berth. For them to get back there with a chance, actually, hey, they're not going to be a 16, that's for sure. Campbell would have been a 16. Campbell would have been going to Dayton, no question.
Campbell first four.
Yeah, Campbell would have been the first four. But Winthrop, hey, you know what? Put them as a 14. They might be able to pull. They're a legitimate, possibly playing. Making it to the second round.
Yeah, I think someone else brought this up because I'd love to be able to take credit for it. But the Big South Conference, could you play the tournament at Reynolds Coliseum?
Colton Tudor brought that up. That was great.
Okay, I knew I wasn't the one.
Yeah, no, Colton Tudor, who is a small note, played the longest ever high school game ever played. The 13 overtime game played in Carter Gym at camp between Andrew and Boone Trail in 1950, whatever it was. But anyway, Colton Tudor brought up playing that game, playing the Big South tournament in Reynolds. Not a bad idea. And it's in a good spot because it truly is the center of the conference, a little bit north of center, easy to get to. I like that idea, maybe something that could happen. We never play in the Raleigh Civic Center. Campbell actually played in the Raleigh Civic Center at one time. And played at the Cumberland County Arena. What is the arena now? But it was Cumberland County Civic Center at the time. That was another possibility. And the Crown Coliseum in Fayetteville would be a bad spot. Easy to get to from the rest of the conference. Campbell hosted the tournament last year. If you remember, Coastal Carolina decides to jump off over to the Sun Belt, and the Big South punished them by pulling the tournament from them. And Campbell ended up hosting it and then did a great job. That was a great event this year. But I like that idea. The problem you've got, though, is when you play these tournaments in these mid-majors and these lower mid-major conferences at neutral site, is you end up with the empty building. Because if you get a bad matchup, you get the wrong team that advances, it doesn't travel well, and it's always spring break. So students are spread all over the country. They're not on the campus, so they're gone. You can have situations like we played in at the Anderson Civic Center in 1992, and there were a couple of hundred people there. There was a couple of hundred in a building that held about 1,200. It wasn't even really a basketball arena. It was a convention center. They put a basketball floor in. Clemson actually played in that building a couple of years ago during one of the many renovations of Little John. But I like the idea, and the Reynolds, after their renovation, it'd be a cool thing to do. Bring back, a little bit of the heritage of college basketball in the South. Playing that tournament in Reynolds, that would be fun. But it would be difficult to sell simply because of that neutral site aspect.
ACC tournament. Obviously, you've been to a few of these. You've covered it. This year, three teams you think could win it all, win the ACC tournament.
Any of the top six that are left. Heck, anybody that makes it to the quarterfinals could win the whole thing. I don't think it'd be somebody, you get a team that had to play on Tuesday. There's no way you can win 5 games in 5 days. It's not possible. Not with the depths of the league as it stands right now. It's Carolina's to lose. And they want to win this tournament. As many times as Roy has said, it's a cocktail party. And those are years where he just didn't feel like he had a team that could win that tournament. And we just need to get ready for the big tournament. And it's ironic that now Coach K is saying the same thing. Granted, his Duke is beat up, injuries, a little bit of an issue now. It seems like with some, I wouldn't say some problems in the locker room, but there's definitely some issues with that team that are beyond just, having injuries at bad times. Louisville, and then the team that nobody's talking about, and the team that's won it before when nobody talks about them, Notre Dame. That's the one team. And don't forget Florida State. And Florida State's won it before. And Notre Dame's won it before.
Florida State's terrible. I ain't going anywhere.
Hey.
Oh, what's up? What's up? Hey, you know what? Florida State's not playing necessarily on the road. It's neutral. So,
it's a bright spot.
I mean, I heard they were trying to move the ACC tournament to a place called like Tallahassee.
Yes.
Something like that. I couldn't remember the name of the place. And
right around Havana.
Oh, yes. Couldn't quite remember the name. That sounds about right. If you're Carolina, I think you have to at least get to the tournament championship to get a 1 seed for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think they need to at least get there. Yes. I mean, they don't have to win the tournament, but getting to that championship. I think in Northeast, why did I say Northeastern? They're not, that's the Colonial.
Right.
And around the corner.
Yes.
I got so many schools in my head right now. But because we're so used to talking about high school athletics, we got a little ACC going on. This is good. But UNC got to get to the tournament championship. I don't think anyone else has a chance for a 1 seed in the ACC. I don't see that at all. So it would be Carolina. If Carolina loses in the semis or loses in the quarters, that's going to make it tricky, especially because you got Oregon and UCLA out there in the Pac-12. Of course, it looks like Villanova and Gonzaga have got 1 seeds pretty well wrapped up, so someone can get left out. That could put UNC as maybe the top number 2 seed. Does it necessarily matter in the end? Maybe not, but you don't know with matchups. You like to go ahead and get that 1 if you can.
Yeah, but then you start thinking about it get thrown into, if you're the number 1 2 seed, are they going to get put in the East?
Mm-hmm.
And that's key because they're going to go to Greenville, South Carolina, no matter what. In the first 2 rounds. But then you got to go out west. At least they put the regional finals back into an afternoon setup for the Sundays, to having these guys playing a 6 and a 9 or 6 and 8 o'clock start on the Sunday night of the regional. Not a big deal there, but having to go out west is a big deal for Carolina and for anybody coming out of the ACC because these guys are beat to death now. Especially if you end up playing 3 or 4 games in the ACC tournament and you get stuck out having to play in wherever our West Regional is this year. That takes a toll and could be a big difference. So Carolina's got to get deep. Getting to the championship game on Saturday night, you're locked into the 1 in the East, and there's no question about it. Maybe it's the 1 in the South, actually, because of Villanova.
I think 1 in the South is your best
1
bet.
in the South is where you're going to. So number 1 in the South, but nobody else in the conference there. But Carolina's got to at least get to Friday to be the number 1 2 seed, and not have that potential of having to go out west.
Wanted to.
Of course, I say Greenville, South Carolina. That we shouldn't be having to talk about that, but we have to.
It's Greenville, South Carolina. That's where it's going to be. Yeah. Probably for the next year or 2 before we get through all those HB2 mess.
Exactly.
That's millions of dollars have left this stage, just walking right on out. We're watching the dollar bills walk away. Dollar bill, walking
and less
away.
Than 3 weeks away from potentially losing every single potential of hosting for the next 6 years.
Oh my gosh!
If that, because the way the NCAA hands out its bids for everything, not basketball, but everything, that's on the table. It's almost a given that by the end of this month, if there's not at least some legitimate HB2 repeal on the table, the NCAA is going to bypass North Carolina for at least the next 6 years.
And you know what? There is no Starcade to bring back the Flair and Race and the Cage.
Nah.
There's no big event like that. I guess you can bring WrestleMania to the state.
On top of it, and people don't think it's that big a deal. It is. And it's not so much the dollars and cents and the politics of it. It's the fact that you're costing these teams, North Carolina and Duke, the opportunity to play at home, although, Duke actually would be better on playing in New Jersey and Philadelphia,
right.
or New York. But anyway.
No, you're right. Go ahead.
But, you're talking about Carolina and for that matter, Wake Forest. Wake Forest gets in the tournament. Yeah, Wake Forest could get put in Greenville. If they had advanced to the least quarters, maybe even the semi, there was a chance they could end up in the Greenville, South Carolina sub-regional, which would have been Greensboro, would have been in their second home. That's the stuff we're talking about. It's not just about the dollars and cents and the politics of it. It's the fact that you're talking about costing home court advantage in the first 2 rounds of the tournament, and that's big because it's money. T-shirt. And people want to joke about the Walmart Carolina fans or the Dollar General Carolina fans. Those people spend money. They buy those regional championship shirts. They buy those Final Four shirts. They don't buy that stuff if the team doesn't advance. People want winners, and taking away just that little bit of advantage playing at home is huge.
Well, we'll get back to high schools and to promote equality in a roundabout way. What I want to do with this, I thought about doing a mashup of sorts, and if we could combine a male and female athlete in this area, who would be put together to really just have a whole bunch of different attributes that could work. Where we say it's the NENC and don't you see, super genetic athletes live here. That's kind of what I'm going to go with on this. Here's mine. I've got one. I might think of a couple others. I want to hear, Malcolm, you got a couple scribbled down. Casey Freshwater. I'm not sure why Casey Copley from Women's Volleyball doesn't do any jumps for track season. She can leap on that volleyball court. Outside hitter for the Lady Pirates. And, of course, Travion So Freshwater So Clean from Northeastern Football. What you do is you give Travion Freshwater the ability to leap over small guys on a run. That's nice. Casey Freshwater. And then, obviously, you throw a Travion Freshwater-like presence on the volleyball court.
Yes.
That's a middle blocker.
Yes.
He's not jumping.
Yes.
that person is standing up. There you go.
Yeah.
Block. You're not getting around Casey Freshwater.
Yep.
That's mine. Go ahead, Malcolm.
I'm going to go with Cameron Walker.
Cameron Walker.
Obviously, Cameron Johnson at Curry Tuck. Obviously, great leaping ability, but she's also went to a 1A, 2A East regional in swimming, part of the relay team. So, I mean, she showed a little versatility, and also, obviously, J.R. Walker with football. I think he's out in track right now, and obviously his accolades for football kind of speak for himself.
Wow. I like that. Sam, I know we're throwing it on you last second. You could just come up with something.
How about let's combine a Trey Proctor.
Trey Proctor,
very nice.
The speed of Trey Burton and the athletic ability of Brianna Proctor. Can you imagine the player you would have that? Not just basketball, but any sport.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something.
Trey's a receiver in football, I believe.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's right. So you got someone that can carry the ball down the court and great vision.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And with the combining of rebound on top of rebound on top of rebound on top of rebound and any type of bucket right in the paint. Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a 5. In other words, we're talking about your typical 5-star McDonald's All-American.
Right.
Yes.
Right. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's really good.
Yeah, I got another specialty maybe.
Another one?
Yeah, Dylan Christian.
Dylan Christian. Go ahead.
Dylan Patrick with Edenton.
Yeah.
Got the bat, power.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Then Caitlin Christian with Perquimans.
Great pitcher.
Yeah, absolutely.
And her bat's been a little silent right now, but I'm sure it's going to pick back up. I mean, she's got a good bat too. That's man, you guys are killing me. Dylan Christian, yeah. That works.
Yes.
And we're getting all the seasons together. That's why I like all the seasons. We're mixing them all together here. That's pretty good. Wow. I'm not going to move on because we're going to move on, but I can't argue with those. Those are really good. Well, Sam, I know you got to go. You got a lot going on. You're waking up at 3 a.m, getting the news together. But thank you for being on once again, talking some ACC hoops and obviously NENC sports. It's
always a pleasure, guys. This time of year is a very busy time of year, but a very special time of year in our household. And we it's wall-to-wall basketball for the next 4 weeks, and I couldn't ask for anything better.
That's Sam Walker, staff writer for the Outer Banks Voice, and obviously big radio personality in these parts. We'll come back with more from the Northeast Corner.
Like our Facebook page and give us your questions and comments. Find us at facebook.com/NENC Sports.
Would you like to earn a degree?
Oh yes, I am ready to earn my degree.
What if I told you that it could be debt-free?
A college education with no loans to pay back? I can't believe it.
Believe it. Elizabeth City State University is offering a 4-year education free of debt. The scholarship campaign will cover all tuition and fees for local North Carolina students living within nearby counties. The debt-free degree offer is available to prospective students for fall 2017. The ECSU Debt-Free Degree, paving the way to debt-free futures. Learn more online at ecsu.edu.
I got Mr. Sam Walker rolling on the Campbell.
Yeah.
When I said the word Campbell, I knew the show was over. There's the hour.
Oh, man.
The man loves his fighting camels.
Yeah. You
got to give him the opportunity. It's not like Campbell's always going to be in the bright lights. Maybe we should have played that song. All of the lights.
There you go.
He's so excited. I really thought Campbell, I just felt like maybe there was a little magic again. It would have been really neat to see them in the NCAA tournament. But I do applaud smaller tournaments like that College Insider. Mm-hmm. At first I went, oh, come on, now we're just watering things down because you already got the NIT. But for schools like that who haven't been in such a long time, it's no different than a 6-6 football team going to a bowl game. Right. And you have to pay to get in some of these smaller tournaments. But if you weigh the pros and cons and see that it could work, you get some home games, some people showing up that haven't seen their program in a postseason game in decades. You probably make a good amount of money at the gate. It's worth it. And if you have a young team, you definitely want to play a couple more games this season. You want to get more of that game experience that you can't simulate during practice. You can't put a price tag on that. There were people upset that UNC went to the NIT in 2010, obviously because they should have went to NCAA and they flamed out a year after winning a national title. Oh, don't go to NIT. You're lowering yourself. You're UNC. What are you doing? Well, we already lowered ourselves by being 500 on the year. So UNC said, you know what? Young team, play in the NIT. Give them some experience. Played the first game in Carmichael. Big crowd. Played William & Mary. Close game. First time Carolina men had played in Carmichael in a regular season game since the 80s because obviously they left when the Dean Dome was built and went on to the NIT final. It was a great experience for guys like a John Henson and a Tyler Zeller that they used as a springboard for that next year when Kendall Marshall came. Called him Butter. And, why are names escaping me right now? Reggie Bullock. Good gosh. and of course, Black Falcon Harrison Barnes. When Black Falcon swagged on you, you got to get out of the way. But it set the stage up for a couple of really strong years with Elite Eight appearances, all that good stuff. And that probably, some of that happens anyway, but I thought that NIT run was very important for that. And to not just act like, well, we're just too big league for that. No, you're not. Mm-hmm. If you were a big league for it, you would have showed it in the regular season.
But also speaking of the team making strides, possibly making the NCAA tournament, you got to think about local ties with Grambling State and Sean Walker. I mean,
Grambling, great point.
I mean, yes. They were one of the down one of the worst teams in Division I basketball, and now they're in the semifinals. They'll be playing Friday against number 1 seed Texas Southern.
They win the championship. We're going to get Coach Walker on the show next week if we can.
Right.
He might get busy with other people saying, wow, what a story. And a conference like that, a team can get hot and get in. It's happens all the time. Just because Texas Southern is the top team.
Right.
I think I saw their matchup. They lost twice to them, I believe, but the second one was like a 6-point game or something. Hey, same thing with Prairie View, and they ended up beating Prairie View. So Sean Walker doing some big things down in Grambling. That program was absolutely atrocious when he took over. Still had sanctions on it. I mean, Grambling's always been about football because Eddie Robinson, but basketball, was in the KenPom ratings. I remember it being last in the country for Division I. All of them. We're talking like 200, 300 schools, whatever it is. They were at the bottom. The bottom. They're not at the bottom anymore. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of work left to do, but you're happy you're not where you were because you're trying to get up higher, but you're not down there.
Absolutely.
I try to make that more poetic than it actually was. But Grambling, they're 16-16, I think is the record. 500 right now. They'll take that at Grambling.
Absolutely.
And we knew Sean Walker's a good coach here from ECSU, but you thought for a while there maybe he stays. This is his home. Well, his home is Washington County. He's going to say Roper, not Plymouth, Roper. That's his home. But I'd seen many times where he has taken teams at ECSU that were similar to the last couple years. Not a knock on Alico Dunk, but those last couple years, he would have made those teams more competitive. I'm not even saying winning record, but they'd been more competitive. They're going to win a few more of those games. Really would. That's a coaching ability right there. He won a conference championship while he was here. Had the team in a couple other conference finals. So his ability is there. There's no question about it. And we know about his son playing at a High Point Wesleyan Christian there, where Harry Giles went, now at Duke. Theo Penson now at UNC. Sean Walker Jr. doing some good things as well. Definitely got that talent. Love to see him at Northeastern. We know we've talked about that. Okay. How about little Shimon now?
Jump on, get on me, all right.
ECSU football, that is, posted online about tryouts later this month. Said anyone interested will have to pay $25 in cash only. In defense of ECSU, I was able to get confirmed that many Division IIs do this to supplement assistant coaches' very small paychecks, because it's true, the rest of the people on the staff, especially the lower end, make less than nothing, if there's such a thing. It can be that bad. Make sure people know exactly where the money is going, especially when you say cash only. It sounds sketch. Even in this one place I found out, it does it too in the other D2s. They say cash or check. They say it's going to the discretionary fund, and that fund is specifically funneled for help in camps, for assistant coaches, that kind of thing. That thing that ECSU put out had nothing on that. Matter of fact, it said it accepts. It was like some type of typo or just bad grammar, or probably both, who knows, on the sheet. Shimon now.
Jump on.
Yeah, we kind of crafty on the show. Anniversary of this album coming out, Beastie Boys. Licensed to Ill. If I'm not mistaken, it'd be at least 30 years now. Certainly in the 80s. I still got the CD. It's the new style. And No Sleep Till Brooklyn, which connects with the ACC tournament. I didn't want to mention that because it's been played like crazy during the ACC tournament. But for the writers in the South having to make the trip up there, there's No Sleep Till Brooklyn. Especially if they're not getting hotels much in Brooklyn. Hey, sleeping in the cab. Oh man, I don't know. Twitter shouts.
Your tweets go here. Twitter shouts.
This is from at NHS Track and CC. You know, that's Coach Tony Johnson with Northeastern Track and Cross Country. He said, we'd like to extend a huge thank you to NC runners for bringing the Eastern Tour to Elizabeth City. Great job. Absolutely, because it's not just that they're there helping to time the runs, jumps, etc., because obviously they've got people on site for that. They're posting video, they're posting photos. I mean, they learn from you. Videos and photos of all things Northeastern North Carolina. They did a lot of that, and of course that goes on their site that's seen by a lot of eyeballs. I think Alex Rodman, there's an interview with her on there. A lot of good photos from the event. So, yeah, it's cool that they came up here. And then the Pasquotank Track has hosted some big events. They host the conference championship, seems like about every other year. And then they hosted the 2A East Regional 2-3 years ago, I think. So thought there'd be a few more teams outside the area that would show up. I think Richlands was scheduled to appear but didn't. So really it just turned into like a mashup of Coastal 10, Northeastern Coastal teams. That's fine. Camden wasn't there. I don't know where they might have. Camden and Manio were the two teams I was surprised weren't there, and even Ocracoke. We talk about distance runners. I mean, Ocracoke every year has got a couple that always surprise, but other than that, just about everybody else showed, so that was good. Well, we encourage all of you to tweet about any NC sports, and yours might get posted on or get put on the air. If you've got thoughts, you got questions, ideas, we'll try to answer them. We'll put them on the show. Just use the hashtag NENC Sports. ECSU softball won. I don't know how to move into that. The transition. ECSU softball won.
Yeah. If you looked at early in the season, you thought the over-under would be a half, but hey, they got him. So,
yes, very quickly.
Yes.
Won 19-0.
Yes.
19-0. Who did they play? Who did the Bluefield team and carry this past weekend and won 19-0? They've been getting beat by an average of 19-0.
Yeah.
What is going on? And then the Earth got put back where it was supposed to be. Lost to Pfeiffer 19-0 and 21-0 on Tuesday at home. So Lady Vikings now 1-12, but they won. I thought their best chance would be against the Lincoln later in the year, a doubleheader type of situation. They're playing late, and that could still be a chance to pick up a couple wins. By we saw this Bluefield, we saw their results in other teams, and it's looked pretty bad.
Yeah, just as similar to ECSU.
It's tough times. I think they've still got just 9 players. Mike Pierce is a good coach, good guy. I think that he knows this is a lot of trial and error and a lot of error right now. I think he's got it up to 11 in the team. A couple women's basketball players showing up. So he's got a lot on his plate to try to get things done if he even comes back after this year. We don't know. And now for something else totally different. And we have a lot of fun on the show and good times. But this is our next to last show, Malcolm. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
And not a joke, truth. This is going to be it for the NENC Sports radio show. I can't tell you in detail why right now, but I will say it's nothing to do with anything against WRVS or them kicking us off the air because our ratings are bad or something, whatever. WRVS has been nothing but great to us. Randy Jones, Clay Mercer, and the guys do an excellent job, and they also do an excellent job with other events in the area. You know about the high school game of the week for basketball and the high school football media day they've put together these last 2 years has been outstanding, and teams and players coming. It's been great with WRVS. That is not it at all. But this is the 29th episode of the 3rd season. It's been a heck of a ride. We started before you were here, Malcolm, with Jimmy, with his iPad, Jimmy LaRue, our old sports writer, and said, let's just do something. Let's just do something different. It's not necessarily different than anybody else in other areas, but different to here and give people another voice and get people out there, because WRVS reaches a lot of people. And we thought even with the podcast, you can reach a lot of people. You put it out on different places. Anyone can do it these days. That's the beautiful thing. You don't have to have experience. I don't have experience in this. Malcolm, you do, but I don't. What, you don't?
No.
Oh, thought you did. You lied on your application?
Yes, I did.
Okay, you're fired. So, no experience, but a love for athletics here, a love for the athletes here and the people and the places of northeastern North Carolina, what we love. And of course, it's my home, so it means a bit more. But nonetheless, it's something to say, you know what, we're here. We're loud, we're proud, we're here. Athletes live here. We say that so many times. I think I say it in my sleep sometimes, but it's the truth. However, we're going off the air. Next week is going to be the last show for the foreseeable future, which would mean 70 shows in the last 2 seasons, all through WRVS. The first season, mostly through halfway through podcasts. I'm trying to remember exactly. We came on the air with WRVS, I believe, in the December of 2014. That sounds right. Started in 2014 because I can remember Roanoke Rapids with Coach Eric McDaniels had a run. He was one of our first guests on that first WRVS show, and I can remember just being antsy about it. Like, the guys first asked us, Randy Jones, Clay Mercer, hey, why don't you come do the show with us? And And I'm pulling like your typical Rocky, come back, I don't know, we kind of like, we're kind of ham and eggers, and you guys are radio, and it's kind of a big deal, I don't think it'd be such a good show and everything, They're like, no, just do it. I'm like, okay, we'll do the show, do the big show. We come here, big microphones in our face, and just start messing with it, just trying to have a good time. And hopefully y'all understood that and could hear how good of a time we've been having so many different people on, so many different places, not just from the area, of course. And last week, having Mike Blake on from News and Observer, it's big time. He came on the show. He was loving it. He'd actually asked me, he said, I heard about the show. I'd like to be on sometime. He was doing that. We're talking people around the state are hearing the show. It's unbelievable, the support in these last couple of years. And it's all because of you, that you care about athletics here. We knew you did. You wanted a voice. We wanted to give you a voice. This is it. This is one of the voices. And of course, social media, because that gives everybody a chance. Some people don't need that chance, but other people, because Twitter can get crazy. But for us, it's been a heck of a ride, a heck of a pleasure. And obviously, we'll talk more in depth next show about the reasons behind next week being the series finale. What's going to be like MASH, like Cheers, Seinfeld, all wrapped up into one. Millions of people, or 20 or 30 that, who knows? It doesn't matter. It's just, I'm rambling because it's what I do. But next week will be the last week of the show, and we certainly hope you listen and take it in. Hopefully have a few surprises, do some good things. Let's close up this one. Remember to keep following us on Twitter at NENC Sports. I'm at ONOBX. Sam's at Sam Walker OBX.
I'm at Malcolm_Shields.
And of course, if we're beyond the radio time, if you're listening on WRVS 89.9 FM, it's okay. It's on YouTube. You might be listening on YouTube anyway, so you're really good. You're good. You're hearing all of it. But if you don't know about YouTube, just search on YouTube.com, either WRVS 89.9 or NENC Sports, and you'll find us all the episodes from this season. They're all there, and they're all fantastic, I think. My humble opinion for the people we've had on the show for the last 3 seasons has been crazy. But as far as this episode, Owen Hassel, Malcolm Shields, it's the NENC, and don't you see, athletes live here.
NENC Sports Radio Show is produced at the WRVS-FM studios on the campus of Elizabeth City State University.